The Black Monk of Pontefract, the Pritchard family's haunting nightmare. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, 30 East Drive in Pontefract, England, was the scene of the infamous poltergeist haunting known as the Black Monk of Pontefract. After the Pritchard family moved into the house in 1966, they began to notice increasing paranormal activity, which ranged from unusual noises and moving items to severe physical attacks by the Black Monk, a dark-robed figure. Numerous studies, publications, and films have been inspired by this haunting, which is regarded as one of the most violent and well-documented occurrences of poltergeist activity in the UK. Here is a concise summary of the haunting nightmare experienced by the Pritchard family, known as the Black Monk of Pontefract, in 10 key points. Number 10. The Pritchard family moves in an initial haunting. The Pritchard family, consisting of Joe, Jean, and their kids Philip and Diane, moved into a semi-detached municipal home at 30 East Drive, Pontefract, West Yorkshire, in August 1966. Strange things started to appear almost instantly, beginning with a ghostly dust that seemed to be coming from nowhere and settling all about them. The family thought this first burst of activity was a temporary aberration because it ended after just a few days. But after almost 2 years of quiet, the paranormal activity picked up speed again in 1968 and persisted unabated until the end of 1969. The family's dream home would become a nightmare during this protracted period of haunting, which also signaled the start of one of the most well-known poltergeist instances in Britain. Number 9. Early paranormal phenomena and unexplained events. The initial signs were confusing and disturbing. When Aunt Maria visited, she saw that even though all of the taps were turned off and there were no visible plumbing leaks, mysterious pools of water were collecting on the kitchen floor. The family and the local authorities who looked into it were perplexed by these puddles that came and went without warning. In addition, a fine white dust or powder was observed drifting through the air, landing on objects, and even inexplicably sprinkling sugar and dry tea leaves on counters. Crockery rattled, cabinet doors shook violently, and plants were seen jumping out of their pots for no apparent reason. Numerous family members and guests witnessed these incidents, which led to an increasing level of anxiety and perplexity in the house. Number 8. Escalation to violent poltergeist activity. The frequency and intensity of the poltergeist activity increased significantly as the haunting went on. Apparently in response to a visitor's casual comment regarding the grandmother clock's immobility, heavy furniture was flung throughout the home, including a huge clock that was tossed down the stairs and shattered. Diane was occasionally pinned against the steps by objects that levitated and moved violently through the air. Lights flickered wildly and electrical equipment went on and off on their own. The house was filled with loud banging, knocking, and drumming sounds, frequently accompanied by the tearing of photos and pictures and the violent shaking of cupboards. The family had to put up with green foam dripping from toilets and taps, even when the water was turned off, which made the disruptions extra stranger. The family's everyday routine and sense of security were seriously upset by the chaotic and unsettling atmosphere these occurrences produced. Number 7. The Black Monk apparition emerges. The emergence of a dark, hooded figure that the family called the Black Monk, or Fred, was a defining characteristic of the haunting. Numerous witnesses, including the Pritchards, neighbors, and family members, saw this enigmatic, faceless figure. The figure was said to be dressed in a black monk's uniform, with the cowl covering its face. It frequently appeared at the foot of beds, in dark corners, or in doorways.
Number 6. Diane Pritchard as the primary victim of physical attacks. The youngest Pritchard kid, Diane, was the primary victim of the poltergeist's vicious attacks. An invisible force physically assaulted her, slapping, scratching, and forcibly dragging her up the stairs. Her neck bore noticeable bruises and red markings that resembled strangulation marks. Despite being miraculously unscathed physically, she was trapped down by big things and furniture. Diane suffered from extreme emotional and psychological trauma as a result of these attacks, which made her frightened of the house and made the haunting one of the most violent poltergeist instances in UK history. As Diane grew older, the entity's attacks became more regular and severe, including yanking her hair and dragging her out of bed while she was asleep.
Number 5. Chloe's death. According to the belief, the poisoning's aftermath is just as terrifying as the actual act. Following the discovery of the deaths, the other slaves on the plantation were terrified and feared that Judge Woodruff would punish them all at once. They reportedly took matters into their own hands in a last-ditch effort to save themselves. Chloe was taken from her bed when she was asleep, hanged from a big oak tree on the property, and her body was then tossed into the Mississippi River while being weighed down with rocks. According to the narrative, this deed was either a form of retaliation against Chloe or a means for the enslaved community to prove their innocence and escape the Woodruff's wrath. Number 4. Historical inaccuracies and the fabrication of folklore. Despite the story's persistent hold on popular culture, a careful review of historical documents finds notable inconsistencies. The Woodruffs possessed slaves, according to the U.S. federal census, 5 in 1820 and 32 in 1830, although none of them were named Chloe or Chloe. Number 3. Haunting phenomena and Chloe's ghostly legacy. The Myrtles Plantation's eerie reputation revolves around the Chloe legend, regardless of its historical veracity, particularly in the dining room where the poisoning is said to have taken place. Visitors and paranormal investigators often report seeing a female apparition in a green turban, sometimes manifesting as a shadowy figure or blue mist. Unaccounted for footsteps, doors that open and close by themselves, cold areas, and children's play sounds are among the other recorded occurrences, which many people believe are caused by Chloe's and the Woodruff kids' restless spirits. The plantation's reputation as one of America's most haunted places has been further cemented by its appearance in multiple television shows, such as Unsolved Mysteries and Ghost Hunters. Particularly at locations connected to Chloe's story, some visitors report experiencing uneasiness, melancholy, or feeling watched, while others assert that the spectral inhabitants made them feel welcome. In American paranormal lore, Chloe's ghost is among the most photographed and spoken about due to the frequent tales of ghostly activity, whether real or imagined. Number 2. Publicity, investigations, and cultural impact. After author Colin Wilson looked into the case in the late 1970s and wrote Poltergeist in 1981, the haunting gained a lot of attention, and the happenings at 30 East Drive became widely known. Documentaries, ongoing paranormal investigations, and movies like When the Lights Went Out were all influenced by the story. As one of the most violent and well-researched poltergeist instances in the UK, the Black Monk haunting has become a staple of British paranormal legend and a topic of interest for ghost seekers, researchers, and horror fans alike. In order to secure its place in popular culture and paranormal history, the case has been recounted in television, movies, and novels. Number 1. Origins, evolution, and enduring appeal of the Chloe legend. A remarkable illustration of how folklore changes to suit the demands of its audience is the tale of Chloe. Although her existence has no historical foundation, the legend acquired popularity in the 1950s when Marjorie Munson started compiling ghost stories about the estate, especially those that featured a woman wearing a green turban. Tourist expectations, the impact of popular media, and the mingling of several local legends, sometimes characterizing her as young or old, black or white, a house servant or a French-Canadian nanny, all contributed to the development of Chloe's character over time. The adaptability and emotional impact of the story have guaranteed its longevity and appeal, particularly since the Myrtles Plantation became a bed and breakfast and a major tourist attraction. As the narrative is still told today through ghost hunts, television shows, and guided tours, Chloe is not only a representation of the plantation's eerie history, but also of the timeless appeal of mystery, tragedy, and the paranormal in American society. Tragic pasts and eerie legends converge at the Myrtles Plantation, which continues to be a fascinating fusion of mystery and history. Regardless of your belief in the paranormal, the ghostly hallways in Chloe's stories never cease to captivate tourists, preserving the essence of Louisiana's complicated and rich past. If you liked our video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.